back in Chattanooga, we were here about 2 weeks ago, meeting with VaynerMedia and Gary Vaynerchuk. Here, we're at a conference called the AARC. I don't know what that means, but it's something to do with retirement communities. I'm gonna let Daniel answer that.
So AARC stands for American Association of Retirement Communities. What it is it brings people from all over the country that are passionate about tourism and bringing new people to their communities and their cities and all these places throughout the U.S. AARC is something that I think has a lot of people that are passionate. I just think that technology has changed so fast. They're trying to find what they should double down on and use to be able to get people attracted to their areas.
So we're here to talk to them about how to think about their marketing differently.
Favorite chapter of this book, which I think sums up my way of thinking, and the chapter is a page long. We need to be on page 1 of Google. We should offer a special promotion. Those are all tactical. But what are better questions are, why are my sales not twice as big? Who do I want to buy from me? What must happen to cause them to buy? Those are harder questions to answer, but if you do, you start building a more sustainable business. So this is something we give away as kind of like to add value to people.
If you were to grab 100 marketing agencies, 99% of them do not think this way, and I think that's why we have the crazy, sometimes unbelievable returns that we have for people.
We think that the approach is different in the fact that we can track almost everything that we do, giving you the 100% verification of your return on investment. So today we're going to bring some value to what we hope to be 80 to 100 people that are looking for the same thing. So stay tuned, wish us luck.
I don't know where I'm going from here, so Spencer's going to edit this out.
Cool.
I do that so it's hard on you.
Yeah, I love it.
Just kidding.
Hello everybody, I hope everybody's doing well today. Who in here today would leave with value if they learned new information, how to drive people to their destination of where they're at? Pretty much 95% of the room. Wonderful. I know without question today you're going to be able to learn some value that's going to be able to do that for you. Justin has about 15 to 20 years of experience. We've done it for multiple markets throughout the United States of America. Obviously it's great to grow 1 year, but what if we can grow 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year? It gets harder every year, but is it doable? Absolutely yes. So without further ado, I want to introduce Justin Jones, the CEO of IMEG.
So to get kind of started here, thanks for the invite here. So the goal of this is to not bring tactics and not give you any answers or solutions really, but to have you think a little bit different and ask higher quality questions. Quality questions create quality of life. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. Customers will always want the lowest price, and they'll always want the best customer service. And the best customer service is the customer service you don't need. So everything else comes into that. It makes it easier to have some clarity. Same kind of thing here. We day trade attention. What's the lowest acquisition cost at the highest conversion? So asking those two questions, what is the lowest acquisition? What's the lowest cost I can get in front of the right person? Strategic versus tactical, which we talked about. We weren't this way for the first probably 4 or 5 years of the company. We were very, very tactical. Like somebody come in with like, I want to grow, and we're like, you need some SEO. And we don't even know what the problem is or what the goal is. We just throw stuff at them. And I think a lot of people do that. In fact, this book at the end is one of my favorite books. This is from Keith Cunningham. I don't know if anybody's read this. Chapter 23 in this book talks about how we think tactically too much and about how when we want to grow something, we just immediately go, well, I got to hire 2 salespeople. I want to grow, I need 2 salespeople, I need a new website, and I need some more email. As opposed to asking higher quality questions, which as I said, I'll give you all a couple here at the end to take notes on, but asking a higher quality question, and maybe that's what you need, maybe it's not. So a couple of questions we always start with is, how big do you want to be? How fast do you want to get there? So let's talk about this. So how fast do you want to get there? If I ask everybody in this room, you got to lose 20 pounds, how long is it going to take?
Down the moon path.
It could take 2 months, it could take 3 months, could take 6 months. So a lot of times people don't ask this question, how fast do you want to be there? And they don't build the roadmap to get there. Because if I would have said, the question is, well, how fast do you want to be there? Well, I don't want to lose 20 pounds overnight because that's very, very unhealthy. You got to wrap yourself in garbage bags, you got to sit in a sauna, and you got to get sick. I don't want to do that, but you said 2 months. That's probably reasonable. That's probably a healthy way to do it. But if I'd have said 200 pounds overnight, well, then I got to start cutting off body parts. So I'd have to cut off an arm and a leg and those things. I can lose 20 pounds. I just got to start cutting stuff off. Is that really what you want to do? So actually putting a timeline on it that's reasonable, and the drill down method approach helps you do that. But these are some questions we ask. Are we in front of the right people? Are they taking the actions we want them to take? Are we getting the acquisition cost that allows optimal return on investment? Is our process scalable? Because a lot of things you can do in a small scale, but you can't scale it. Not means you shouldn't do it, but you shouldn't rely on it. Is our process repeatable? Is this like some anomaly that only works in one instance? Is our process constantly being optimized for optimal results? Is there a better way? So even if we answer yes, it's awesome, 1 through 6, still the 7th question comes in, is there a better way? So what can we learn from GPS? This is the biggest thing that I try to put things into, is most people know where they want to go, but they don't know where they are. So for example, today we were coming here from Knoxville and we put into the GPS. The GPS knew where we were and they knew where we were going. So it could tell me step by step how to get here. That's the yellow brick road. That's the drill down method. So where am I and where do I want to be? But you got to be honest about where you are and where you want to be. So think about it like a GPS. So here's a little bit of a different thinking metric, and this may where like people, if you're big into print and it's worked for you, that's a beautiful thing. We're not for or against it. Once again, we're for the return on investment. And there are a few times I could give some print examples, but most of the time, cities in particular start at the awareness phase, which is typically, if you're running an ad in a magazine, not always, but if you're running an ad in a magazine or a billboard, that's awareness. And then that awareness, you have to get them interested. Then interested, you got to get them to make a decision. Then that decision, you got to get them to actually take an action. We believe, why not start at the bottom and skip all that brain damage at the top? Just start with action. So how do we know? And one example, and as I said, this could be a whole nother hour or two talk, is if we go back to the values part, or where are people spending their time, money, and energy, then where are people already looking for this? And how do we know they're looking for it? Like, for example, in a Google search, who's looking to move to this destination? Someone searching for it. So if you're searching for it on Google, you're probably at least at the interest stage, possibly even at the decision, and many times even in the action. So, and the longer the key phrases on those, the closer they are to the actual action. So, not saying you don't go awareness, and in some instances I can give some examples with some clients where like they have to do the awareness thing, but this is more of just a question of, do I want to find people in the awareness stage, or can I find them at the action stage, which lowers my acquisition cost and then gives me more return? And then how do I convert them, my paid media, into owned? The reason we gravitate to a tactical answer is because we are wired to get busy, to do something, to take action. The illusion that we live is that being active is synonymous with being productive. The key is to start with 4 really simple questions. And here they are. Who do I want to buy from me? We talked about that. What must happen to cause them to buy? What must happen to keep them coming back? What could happen to cause them not to buy? Starting with those type. It may be different for your business, but starting with a question as opposed to a question is not, we need to rank #1 on Google, need to hire new salespeople, need to send more emails. That's not a question. Starting with a question may lead to that answer, but maybe it won't. And if we do that, we can do things where we have a $900,000 budget competing with $3 to $9 million budgets and not even beating them, but annihilating them. And it's not going to happen overnight, and anything worth having doesn't. So looking at more of what's the cause as opposed to the effect. And that's all I have. Thank you.
So I'm at this event with AARC, got to speak and ran into
Suzanne Williams.
who we know each other, but we never met in person. It was so interesting to meet her here, which basically I'm gonna let her tell the story. But It's about 2 years ago.
Well, it was in October 2017.
Okay. She was in our area, in the Knoxville area, Sevierville, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, at a conference, and she had a mishap happen.
I did, had a little accident.
Rich, we were able to help with, or somebody called me and said, hey, she's gonna, she had this accident, she's gonna have to be here for a month. She can't go home for a month. She's got a big family. She's real tight with family.
Yes,
Family's a
very
high
tight.
value. Can you help out with a cabin? We can't find anything to do. And I have some cabins in there. And I was like, sure, and thought nothing of it. But then she sent me this really cool thank you note. And I was like, wow, it's like, I'm always focused on big things and I don't think about the small things. And sometimes, this is the second time this has happened this year, where it's this little thing you can do for somebody that seems like an everyday nothing that actually like really can help people in a major way.
Changed my life. I've never forgotten it, and honestly, I just never imagined getting to meet you. And then when I looked at the program and saw your name, I mean, I prayed for you all the time for 2 years. And when I saw your name, I went, oh my goodness, that can't be the same guy, surely. And then you show your PowerPoint, and I went, that's the cabin where we were.
Yep. Oh yeah, because it was in there.
I'm texting my kids saying, you're not going to believe who's here, because, I mean, you're a household name at our house.
Awesome. So the moral of the story is not what I did at all. The moral of the story is that a small little thing that you can do, you may not even know. Like if I hadn't have spoke at this conference, we didn't get an opportunity to meet. Maybe we would have. Maybe we wouldn't, but the big thing is the tiny little things that you can do sometimes that seem like nothing to you can end up being something big for somebody. And even if I didn't know, it still had the impact. And just the moral of the story is just help when you can and where you can, and sometimes the smallest things, which was really nothing for me, but really helped that I'm so glad I could be a part of that. It was awesome to meet you.
I have prayed for 2 years to be able to meet you, and then you can imagine this
awesome.
is just like, oh, full circle.
Good deal.